Slither is a 2006 horror film directed by James Gunn. This was his directorial debut. It follows a small town in which everybody just minds their own business. Nothing bad happens. Everybody just goes around their day. That is until an alien organism arrives into their town and starts inhabiting their bodies. Slither is one of those movies from my childhood that I remember fondly. I never got a chance to check this movie out in theaters because I was at a young age when this movie came out, and my parents aren't really the biggest movie fans that I am, so I never really got a chance to check this movie out in theaters. This was one of those movies that took me a really long time to check out, but when I finally got around to checking it out, it's one of those experiences where you vaguely know what the movie is about just by looking at the poster, but really don't know what the whole entire story is about. That was my first experience with Slither because I didn't know anything about it besides the poster and really seeing some teaser trailers here and there. The film revolves around Michael Rooker and Elizabeth Banks, who plays Grant and Starla Grant. Probably not the best names that you can ever put in a movie, but this movie is so well aware that you kind of just give it a pass. Starla isn't really all that attracted to Grant anymore, and so whenever they get passionate in the bedroom, Starla isn't really all there, and so Grant goes out to a bar where he sees somebody from his past. They kind of hit it off a little bit. They go into the woods where they found this meteorite that is inhabited by the slug aliens that arrive in a meteorite, and they begin to take over Michael Rooker's body in order for him to be their host. Just on the premise alone, this is a bizarre and strange movie that I just had a lot of fun with. What James Gunn was able to do with this movie was give us a different type of horror movie, because on one end it is more of a invasion of a body snatcher type of movie, but on the other end it's also a bit of a zombie movie at the same time. I think the way James Gunn is able to mix and match these different ideas in here to make it really bonkers, really crazy, and really kooky. The cast is also made up of Nathan Fillion, who plays the sheriff, Greg Henry, who plays the mayor, and Tania Solunar. I do apologize if I butchered the name, but she is one of the people that Michael Rooker goes off into the woods with and goes missing for a little while. There's a little bit of an investigation to see where she's at because Grant is the last person she was seen with. When you first see her after she's been invaded by the alien slug, kind of in the same vein as Vincent D'Onofrio in Men in Black, just the practical effects that they use is still probably one of the highlights of this movie. It still holds up almost 20 years later, and the fact that this movie is almost 20 years later just makes me sick to think about. But as bizarre as this movie is, it's still a lot of fun with just the way that they use the slugs in order to communicate with people. Once the slugs are released into the world, that is when hell breaks loose, and you get to have a little bit more fun with the movie. Just the way that they're able to use, because once the slugs go into your mouth, you're able to see where they're from, what they've been through. I thought that was a unique take to the body invasion genre. And yeah, this movie is not going to be for everybody because it is just a bonkers and bizarre movie. Too weird and too out there for just the casual viewers. But if you are somebody that really loves horror and wants to see a different take, but you just haven't seen Slither yet, I think you're going to have a lot of fun because they really do a lot of unique things in here. And even though the dialogue isn't the best and some of the characters here and there aren't the best, the humor lands in here. It has a lot of weirdness in here to make it bizarre, but you also have that James Gunn humor in here to really balance out the weirdness and the bonkerness of it all, to just have a little bit more levity and make it a little bit more worthwhile. But overall, this is a movie that I feel deserves a little bit more love in the horror genre because it is a weird and bizarre movie to go into. I said this when the Suicide Squad came out. Even though I really enjoy the 3 Guardians of the Galaxy movies, James Gunn just feels like he lives and breathes in the R-rated genre, and this is him going full force with his creative vision. Some of the visual effects here and there don't work, but the way that those slugs look and the way that the slugs move, they still hold up almost 20 years later. And overall, this is a movie that you should definitely check out if you have not checked it out. But those are my thoughts on Slither. Have you guys checked it out? Do you enjoy it, or is this just too weird for you to enjoy? Go ahead and drop your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll catch you guys soon.